Hello students, welcome to Social Studies class. Hope you are all following the classes regularly. In this session, we shall continue with chapter 13, National Liberation Movements in the Colonies. Already we have learnt in two parts about this chapter. Today we shall continue with one African country called Nigeria. Students, look at this map. You can locate the Nigeria in this world map. It is located in the west coast of Africa. We were learning about the countries which were under the colonialism and fought against the colonial rule and domination of European powers. Already in the previous session, we learned about China, an Asian country, and in this session we are going to learn this African country, Nigeria. Children, here in this session, while learning about the national liberation movement of Nigeria, this is similar to some extent to our Indian national movement also. At the beginning of the chapter, we learned that while learning about the liberation movements of these countries under colonialism, we will be comparing with our Indian national movement also. So, let us go forward. Students, by the end of this session, you will be achieve the learning objectives such as you will be able to explain how the Nigerian liberation movement is similar to Indian national movement. There are some similarities as well as differences between the two liberation movements, and you will respond to the challenges, that is problems faced by the Nigerian people in those days under colonial rule, and you will be able to explain the Pan-Africanism, which is a key concept of Nigerian liberation movement. Children, before going to learn the liberation movement, just have a look at Nigeria, where before going to learn about the liberation movement in Nigeria, just have a look at the background of Nigeria. The present Nigeria's capital is Abuja, and as we already learned that Nigeria is located in the West African coast, and this country is famous for petroleum, cocoa and palm oil. For Nigeria and other African countries, the concept of nation state is a very new idea. Idea of nation states is new to Africa. That means nation states means a large politically sovereign country or administrative territory. In other words, we can say a nation state is an ideal in which cultural boundaries match up with political boundaries. So, this concept of nation states is very new to African countries, that is politically organized people having same race, culture, tradition and languages. Let us see the condition of British colonialism under Nigeria. Nigeria, as we know today, was created by the British by bringing together different regions around the Niger system. Nigeria actually it was having different tribal people around the Niger river system. So, Britishers, when they came to colonize, make this country as a colony, they brought all the tribal people together to form one state. Here children, have a look at this map. You can see river Niger very clearly in this map. So, the different tribal people of Nigeria were residing around this river Niger. So, the Britishers, when they came to make Nigeria as a colony, they brought all these tribal different people as one state. Let us see the major tribes in Nigeria. The northern part of Nigeria was dominated by Hausa Fulani tribal people, and southern part is again divided into two parts. Southeastern part is dominated by Igbo tribe, and southwestern region was dominated by Yoruba tribe. This northern part of Hausa Fulani people were predominantly Muslims, and the southern part of Yoruba and Igbo tribal people were mostly Christians due to the missionary activity done in this area. But before Nigeria was politically organized democratic system, it has faced many difficulties under colonialism. The European control over its natural resources, especially petroleum. Children, we have learnt even in the previous sessions that the European countries made colonies for the sake of raw materials. So, they wanted raw materials for the industries in those countries. They made some countries as their colonies, such as India also. We have learnt India was also a colony for British Empire. In the same way, Nigeria became colony for Britishers. The main reason was petroleum. Children, you can see in this map the brown color region in the southern part of Nigeria, which is the main reserves of petroleum were located. So, this area of Niger Delta is famous for petroleum reserves, and in other picture you can see the spilling of oil from ground level. The region of Niger Delta was very densely populated regions of Africa. Densely populated means very thick populated countries of Africa. This region suffered from different colonial rules, and it was a major source of slaves for America. Children, we have learnt even in your previous classes there was a slave trade. That means when America was found, the Europeans went and settled there to make agricultural farms and to establish industries. So, for that purpose they need many slaves, slave labor. So, they took most of the Africans to America in ships. Here in this slide you can see the under the deck of the ship how the slaves were kept, and as many as slaves were possible they were transported to America in the ships. This picture was also there even in your 7th and 9th class textbooks. But this slave trade was there in the 16th century, but later abolished in the 19th century. So, after slave trade was abolished, the new interest in Nigeria for the colonial powers was regions of petroleum. So, after slave trade was abolished, new interest in the trade of agriculture was agricultural products like palm oil and cocoa. Children, you know palm oil. Children, you know palm oil which is used even in our daily cooking, and also cocoa. Children, you know for what cocoa is used for? Yes, for making chocolates. Do you like chocolates? Yes, everyone likes the chocolates. So, these chocolates were made from cocoa beans. In this slide, in this picture, you can see the cocoa beans. From these beans, cocoa powder is made, and from that chocolates are made. So, Nigeria is famous for palm oil and also cocoa and mostly petroleum. The British established their rule over the coastal areas in 1861. Children, even in India also the Britishers they settled their godowns in the coastal areas only. Why? Because they wanted to transport raw materials through the ships, and again the finished goods are brought back in the ships. For this purpose the Britishers settled near the coastal areas, and those areas later became the major centers of industry. So, even in Nigeria, the British Empire established their rule here in the coastal area. In the slide you can see the place of Lagos near the coastal area. So, this place became the major center of trade, administration and education in the Western Africa. Trade means business, making business purpose, and the struggle against the colonialism started in Lagos. Nigeria under colonialism. So, when Britishers ruled Nigeria, these problems arose in the colonial rule. First of all, racism became common. So, what is racism? Racism is nothing but different human behaviors, and this racism was divided as a superiority of one race against the other. So, under colonialism of Britishers, the racism became common, and even educated Africans excluded from civil services. Children, this is also happened in India. Civil services means the common exams which were conducted to take the recruitment of government employees. So, even in India, when our Indian national movement was going on, the Britishers excluded Indians into the higher positions of government offices. So, even in Nigeria, the educated Africans were not taken to civil services, and there was discrimination against the African entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs means the business people, merchant people who make the trade. So, the Nigerian entrepreneurs were subordinated from the Britishers. Divide and rule policy. In 1939, British separated the Yoruba and Igbo regions into western and eastern Nigeria. Children, even this divide and rule policy was followed even in India also. Did you remember in 1905, Bengal was divided into East Bengal and West Bengal. So, the same policy was also applied in Nigeria. So, they divided the southern part into two parts, western and eastern Nigeria with Yoruba and Igbo regions. Here in this region, they encouraged competition and conflict between the three major tribal groups, that means in the northern part and southern part, eastern and western Nigeria. They followed this policy of divide and rule. Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is an idea which promotes the unity of all African peoples irrespective of country or tribe. This is the most important thing in the liberation movement of Nigeria, because all the people, western, especially the people who were suffering with the policy of divide and rule, they opposed this policy and they wanted to fight against the colonialism. So, not only fighting against the colonialism and racial discrimination, they also wanted to build unity among the tribes. So, this was a main key point of Pan-Africanism. So, this concept of Pan-Africanism was based on the principles of equality, social justice and human dignity. The main person who worked for this concept was Kwame Nkrumah. He was a freedom fighter from Ghana. You can see the picture of him in this slide. So, his focus on Pan-Africanism was very much world popular. So, all the people who were against the colonialism, racial discrimination, they wanted to become unity to fight against the colonialism and want to bring their country free. For this purpose, a new leader came up with a new political party. The first Nigerian political party was formed by Herbert Mekele The party name is Nigerian National Democratic Party. In short, it is known as NNDP. It was founded in the year 1923 and NNDP won all the seats in the elections of 1923 and even after that in 1928 and 1933. This party was response of the divide and rule policy. Another political party arose in Nigeria which is known as Nigerian Youth Movement, in short NYM. In 1936, the Nigerian Youth Movement was founded by Nnamdi Azikiwe. This person appealed to all the Nigerians regardless of cultural background. You can see the picture of Nnamdi Azikiwe in this slide. But later, these two political parties agreed to form into a new political party called National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons in the year 1944. For this new political party, Azikiwe became the dominant Nigerian nationalist leader. He strongly supported Pan-Africanism. Children, during this time only Second World War was going on. So, on behalf of Britain, Nigerian soldiers took part in the war. Just like our Indian soldiers also took part in the Second World War on behalf of British Empire, Nigerian soldiers also participated in the war. But after returning from the war in 1945, they felt that to become free from the colonial rule. And these soldiers who returned from the World War II and also the trade unionists, that means the association of traders leaders, the trade unionists, that is the union leaders of the trade, they both became the backbone of the movement. That means they became the strongest persons to fight against the Britishers. So, there was a general strike in 1945 by radical nationalist trade unionists. The main nationalist movement is having two main tasks. One is fighting British against the colonialism. They want to be free from colonial rule and also unifying the ethnic groups of Nigeria. As I already told you, there were different ethnic groups in Nigeria. So, they wanted to be united to fight against the colonialism. This movement was stronger in South Nigeria comparing to North. The national movement in Nigeria. Again in South, there is a ethnic conflict between the Yoruba and Igbo tribes. In previous, we learnt that the Britishers divided these two groups into eastern and western regions of Nigeria. So, here a conflict arose between the two ethnic groups. By 1950s, these three regions had their own anti-colonial movements led by regional parties. So, children, there was a national movement at this time in the peak stage. So, the people of regional parties fighting for anti-colonial movement in their own places and also at the same time fighting for the freedom. Let us see what are the regional parties in this area. The Conservative Northern People's Congress NPC was in the north and the National Council for Nigeria and the Cameroons NCNC in the east and the Action Group AG in the west. Children, let us see the condition of colonial rule in Nigeria under the Britishers. Colonial rule led to uneven development of regions in Nigeria. So, it was happened even in India also. When Britishers were ruling India, they made Bombay, Madras, Kolkata as the main centers for their industrial purpose and they have developed these regions and ignored the other places. In the same way, even in Nigeria, they have developed few centers and ignored the other places. So, this led to uneven development in Nigeria. There was not equitable development in this country. So, finally, when this national movement was reached to peak stage, the Britishers could not stop the movement and finally decided to declare the independence to Nigerians. The British made a federal system in the 3 regions autonomous. That means they made all the 3 regions free. Autonomous means freedom. So, they gave freedom to these 3 regions and Nigeria became independent on 1st October 1963. But this could not stop. Though the Britishers declared independence to Nigeria, this could not be stable for long time. Soon a military rule started and there was a civil war in the country. The military started reinforced the domination in the north. The Nigerian Civil War. This war is also known as Biafran War. So, there was a civil war between the government and the political state called Biafra. This Biafra is a nationalist aspirations of Igbo people. So, between these two groups there was an internal war. Civil war means internal war. It is not a war from outside countries, but it is within the country between different groups of people. So, a civil war started in Nigeria. The Igbo people, they wanted their own state. In this Biafra war, over 1 million deaths occurred. So, not only the soldiers, but even common civilians due to starvation were died. But after the civil war, this Biafra state became a part of Nigeria. And finally, Nigeria elected a democratic government in 1999. So, even after independence was given and democratic government was formed, Nigeria was facing many challenges. Let us have a look at them. Oil, environment and politics. In Nigeria in 1950s, oil was discovered in the Niger Delta. This was the turning point for Nigeria. So, multinational companies headed by Dutch Shell Company, they got the rights for oil drilling, but the profit was shared between multinational companies and the military rulers. So, the military ruling suppressed all the human rights of the people. When with the oil drilling, whatever the profits were getting, there was shared between the military rulers and the multinational companies. But there was no benefit to the common people. Ordinary people were starving to death, but the profit was not shared with the ordinary people. Children, you can see in this slide the oil spillage of drillers. You can see by these drillers they will drill the oil and which was damaging the ecosystem. The oil spillage effect on ecosystem. Let us see the challenges faced by Nigeria. The military ruling which was ruling at that time, they spread corruption and suppression of human rights. There was reckless oil extraction by multinational companies, and the oil which was spilled destroyed the crops, aquaculture, groundwater and soils, and also there was political and social unrest continued. Children, in this slide you can see these are the roots of mangrove forest trees. See, the roots were damaged due to the oil in the water. So, this was damaging the environment. This kind of mangrove forests are also seen even in India near Bengal. So, all the people who were against all these actions of multinational company with reckless extraction of oil from the ground, people demanded for. So, with this reckless extraction of oil by the multinational companies were not acceptable to the common people, because their own ground level water, the drinking water was also contaminated. They could not even drink safe water, which was not may not be the immediate effects on their health, but it long lasting cancer could be happen. And even crops, agricultural crops, which is used for their food, that was also damaging. And even aquaculture, the fishes in the seas were died due to this oil spillage in the rivers. So, fish is also used for the food for the common people, and even soil was damaged. So, due to all these reasons, many activist organizations came up fighting against the government and multinational companies. In 1990, an eminent human rights activist and environmentalist named Ken Saro-Wiwa, he was executed by the military government. You can see the picture of Ken Saro-Wiwa in the slide. In conclusion, we can say that Nigeria, though it became independent and democratic government, it is still making efforts to come together as a nation. It is trying to achieve unity among the people, and also it is trying for stable democratic system. It also trying to gain control over its material resources like petroleum. Children, in this lesson there are some important places to be noted in the map pointing, which is very important for your examination point of view. Have a look at this world map. In the first two sessions, we learnt about one Asian country under colonial rule was China, and this China was dominated by Japan. So, you can notice these countries. Here is a China and here is a Japan. And after that, we were learning about Nigeria. And after that, we learnt about Nigeria. Here is a Nigeria. You can see it was west coast of Africa. So, here Nigeria, and with these two countries we were comparing with our own country, that is India. So, you can see the India is here, and these countries were under the colonialship of Britain. And while learning about Nigeria, we studied about slave trade. The most of the slaves were from African countries transported to USA, America. So, here is USA. So, these are the important places relating to this chapter and which is important for examination. You make a note of all this map pointing, practice well. So, even in the present days also there are so many problems which are polluting our environment. So, relating to this, here is a activity given for you. You need to make a report on importance of environmental protection. So, you need to suggest what are the measures to be taken to protect our environment. Just make a report on the measures of environmental protection. Here are some important questions you need to learn. First question, discuss how you think the idea of Pan-Africanism is different from nationalism. Children, in this chapter we learnt about Pan-Africanism. So, it is similar to nationalism, but both are not same. So, you need to identify the similarities and differences of Pan-Africanism and nationalism. And second question, most of the oil reserves of Nigeria are in the south. We have seen near the Niger Delta in the southern part of Nigeria is famous for oil reserves. So, in the southern part, Igbo tribal people were living. So, these tribal people, they think that they should get the maximum share of oil profits, and they say that the oil wealth being used for the development of north, but not in the south. So, what do you suggest or think will be the solution for this problem? For better understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheets given for you and please visit the official site of SIET. Thank you very much.